Hello and welcome to ODDADA. This is a game made by two people, Sven Algrim and Mathilde Hoffmann. Sven is the inventor of the game and also the artist and programmer. I, Mathilde, am the sound and music designer for ODDADA. The game is currently still in development, so what you're seeing in this video is not final and some of it is bound to change. But we're planning to release in early access this year and we're excited to give you a little taste of what is to come. Today we want to take a look behind the scenes of how this game got to where it is now, to show off to you all the mechanics and listen to some of the tunes created in this little musical world. The vision of the game has always been to make music making fun and accessible to anyone, even if they don't have musical experience or background. We want you to forget all about music theory, audio workstations, about practicing instruments. Just giving you a little push to lose yourself and simply enjoy creating music. And although our goal has been from the start to make some sort of musical game, it didn't always look like this. It has not always been a train ride where you collect different musical loops and then save them onto a cassette. It was quite different at the beginning. Let us show you. The name ODDADA is inspired by the village Odda in Norway, with its beautiful, colorful houses. Sven was born in a little German town called Heuslingen, which could be translated to Little House Town, so he was basically predestined to make this game. And the first prototypes of the game were just that. Little colorful houses on a landscape that produced notes when a wave hit them. When I joined the project as a sound designer, we experimented a lot on how to make this musical world come alive. And the first thing we did was to put a nice ambience into the game. For the houses, we decided to go for bell-like sounds because of their clear initial impact and quieter tail. That would allow for many sounds to be played in quick succession while still keeping a distinct melody. In this world, the higher the house, the higher the note that is being played. And the different tiles don't go up in a chromatic fashion, but they go up in scales that can be changed as well. Of course, houses can be stacked on top of each other as well. For every sound in the game, we implemented 48 tone heights to cover 4 octaves, for even the highest of towers. And since stacking things is fun, we added a lot of curious buildings and living beings to the game. So the next question was, in what way do we trigger the houses to create melodies, and not just chords or ambiences? We tried a couple of different things, starting from a wave that was manually triggered and caused the houses to play, to some sort of physics-based approach, where houses being dropped would cause a little sound wave that would trigger other houses. And that could even lead to chain reactions when bigger houses were being placed on the same map. But we realized that that would lead to sound overkill really quickly. So instead, we wanted to try that the houses would communicate with each other and pass on their notes from house to house. And we tried all kinds of different ways to make that happen. We also tried out different versions of step sequencers. For example, the map being triggered by a piano key, or windmills triggering single lines of the map repeatedly. And we were so fascinated by all those different possibilities because each of them had their own strengths. So we basically just threw them all together in one big sandbox mode and gave that to players for playtesting. And what we came to realize was that although we had invented a tool where it was fun to experiment with the different sounds and mechanics, players tended to put a lot of things onto the map at once, and it created some sort of sound chaos. On the one hand, there were so many different things to explore and so many possibilities to make music with loops or sequencers or stacking houses. But all those different possibilities made it even harder to create nice melodies or even songs. People were overwhelmed by all those choices. And you remember, our goal was to make a tool that makes music making easy and fun. And it is fun to explore all those different mechanics, just maybe not all of them at once. In the meantime, Sven, through different game jams and in his free time, created some other new tools and ideas that you could make music with. And we were thinking, can't we somehow make these part of the gameplay experience? I mean, it doesn't strictly fit into the idea of everything being cute little houses on a big, beautiful landscape. But does it even have to be that way? What if we didn't focus everything on one map, but instead decided to split it up into multiple levels, where you could take your time to explore each mechanic at your own pace, and build different music snippets that you can then collect and put together? We were very inspired by the achievement system of Samaros 3, where you could perform your own song with all the achievements you had collected throughout the game. We were thinking, what if it was possible for the player to create their own achievement loops within ODDADA and then combine them to a song? We created this little train that goes from level to level in a total of 6 levels and collects different musical pieces and puts them together. So that is what ODDADA is today. A world full of crazy machines, nice landscapes, different mechanics to explore, and simply music making made easy. We want to show off a little bit more of what is in the game right now. Even though it is still work in progress, we're pretty proud of what we have already. After a couple of playthroughs in the game, you get rewarded with some new content. The first thing you get is the metronome. Let's see what it does. The metronome does not only indicate the tempo, it can also be used to slow down or speed up an entire level as well. When you press the record button on the train, you collect the loop that you've built and take it with you to the next level. Although it is random which level comes next, we have created some parameters to try to make a very balanced experience between percussion, chords, melodies, and bass. In most of the levels, you can adjust what sounds are being played by placing different figurines onto the square tiles. On the final map, you can record the song the way you like it. If you didn't like your performance, you can always try again. But if you're happy with it, just press the cassette button, and then your song will be printed into this cassette. The cassette editor is still work in progress right now, but you will be able to customize your cassettes and give them your unique name and also their unique look. So now we have unlocked the settings wagon. This one is also pretty fun. We have 3 settings in the game: winter, daytime, and nighttime. During nighttime, the residents of ODDADA go to sleep, and there's not any more music in the houses, but instead they are making noises when they're being triggered. And that can be used to create some fun percussive rhythms. During winter, there's a reverb and delay effect applied, so that everything feels a bit more frozen, a bit more spacey in a way. Because after all, everything sounds a bit more magical with reverb. At night, the drum sequencer turns from an electronic drum kit to a brushed jazz drum kit. To be coherent with the rules of ODDADA that wherever you place the house, the higher the note, we also created 48 variations for the night sounds, so that even though they are sound effects, they would sound higher and lower, depending on which tile they're standing on. The last wagon that we want to introduce to you today is the Scales wagon, which is also pretty fun, because it can turn what you have built within ODDADA a little bit on its head. So I'm trying to build a very melodic piece for demonstration right now. So we are now on the 6th map, so basically the last level before we can record our final performance. And this is where it would be interesting to try out different scales right now. And this can just completely change the character of everything that you had built up so far. So it's pretty fun to use this wagon as one of the last things you do in a run. Or of course, you can challenge yourself to go with a different or unusual scale from the beginning and see where it leads you. Now that you've seen in what way every run in ODDADA can be a little bit different, we want to invite you to a little listening party where we listen to some of the favorite cassettes that we've collected so far. Sit back and enjoy. We hope you liked what you heard today. And we're looking forward to sharing our future progress with you on Discord or Twitter, because there are still many different nice collectibles, different houses, new ideas, and new levels to come. And if you wishlist the game on Steam, you'll get notified when the game comes out. And then we can have a listening party with your cassettes soon. And we're really looking forward to that. Thank you for listening.